Hey, Bart.
Hey, Court.
What's up?
Nothing. We're gonna talk to the Dog Alliance people.
Yeah, well, it's one person. Her name's Debi Krakar.
Well, she's the people.
She is the founder of a local nonprofit called the Dog Alliance, and they train therapy dogs. That is their specialty. Well, they do so much more than that.
They train people to train therapy dogs,
Yes.
like their own therapy dog.
Yes.
So like veterans and people with disabilities,
Yep.
And they do regular dog training.
There's so much. I don't think we could say it all. Oh, let's let Debi tell us about it.
Okay. It's really cool. I'm really excited.
All right, here we go. Let's talk with Debi. So tell us a little bit about the Dog Alliance and what all you all do there.
What all we what?
What all you do there?
What all we do there?
Yeah.
So we have a few major programs. The first one is the Hounds for Heroes program, where we train service dogs for veterans who have combat-related PTSD and or mobility challenges. So that is by far our biggest program. Because of that program and all the inquiries we get for folks that need service dogs, which is at one point we were getting 10 calls a day, every day. Maybe only 6 on Christmas Day, but I mean every single day, 10 calls. Huge demand for service dogs. So since we're a training facility, we came up with a program called Train Your Own Service Dogs. And that's become a really big popular program because it's not offered by many. You need to be pretty darn specialized to be able to teach folks to do that. So that's a big part of what we do these days. Prior to COVID, we had therapy dogs, almost 175 teams that were going to about 300 locations every single year. At some days, we had 15 different teams we were managing in all different places all over Austin. So it was a huge operation. COVID, March 8th, we shut it down, and that's it. Haven't done anything with it in person since then.
Those people are all,
What'd you say?
I was asking if all those people are just sort of like in a holding pattern, waiting for a vaccine and the green light.
The good thing about the silver lining with the COVID is that you really realize how passionate people are for what you do. So our therapy teams, like they were just like kind of lost, right? Hey, Deb, you got anything for me? Like, what can I do? What can I do? And so a group of them with us have reached out to schools, and now we're doing a reading dog program virtually.
Oh, that's cool.
That's great.
Yeah, I mean, it's not as good as being a person, but the teachers need a break, and the students still need that one-on-one with an adult to read stories aloud. And the dog makes it a little bit more fun. And then we adapted that, and we're also doing now story time that we're going to start releasing every Thursday night, and it will hit a nationwide audience. So
what's that? Like, how does that work?
So we have therapy dog handlers that are reading stories. Their dogs are sitting there, they got cute little props, and usually the stories are about dogs. And we got permission from the authors to show the books. And so the book is showing in one corner, and the dog and the volunteer are in the other.
That's really cool.
Oh, I love it.
That's so neat.
It keeps
dogs.
But it keeps our volunteers engaged, right? This is a long time to go without interacting, and all those people that gave every week of their time, they're still giving people that want to do that. So
what do those people look like? Like, are they retired folks or empty nesters or
it's really everything. And we do get our share of retired folks. Oftentimes like a husband and wife both will come and train a dog. But we get plenty of like young families where they're doing it volunteering as a family. And so maybe the handler's 13, 14, and they handle the dog, and mom kind of comes along to supervise. So we get a wide variety. You get your young, just starting out in their careers. They don't have family type people as well that have time on their hand to give.
That's really great.
That's amazing.
I was looking at some of your classes, like Courtney was saying, and you have a therapy dog class. And I know just from our experience that we would have like hundreds of people over the years that would say, oh, I want my dog to be a therapy dog.
Mm-hmm.
But me knowing, I was like, there's like that German Shepherd puppy, or that, that's a Weimaraner that's like, he's they're like hunting dogs, or they're really high strung, or they don't have the temperament to be a therapy dog. So I was wondering what kind of, not success rate, but like what happens with those dogs, or how do you coach the people through those situations where the dog's temperament may not be
The right fit.
the right fit?
Well, I mean, honestly, that's the hard part of the therapy dog program, is that there's times where you got to break someone's heart, right?
Yeah.
They have their heart set on it, and the dog's beautiful with them, but then we get them in class and we go to hug them and the dog's scared, or,
Yeah.
and usually people, I mean, the vast majority, when we point out, look, your dog doesn't like this, right? You may really want to do this, but if we watch your dog's body language, they're telling us loud and clear they're not comfortable and they don't enjoy it.
Right.
And so usually people will, they're sad, but they understand.
But they're still getting to learn it's a more specialized skill set that they're training to do. They just maybe can't take it to a nursing home or to the school.
Right. I mean, the training's always wonderful, right? Even,
Right.
if they can get to that point where we're even considering it, that means they put in a lot of work to get their dog trained. It's really the final step is, does the dog enjoy like people
Right.
hugging it, right? Could it
Right.
handle being in a group of Daisy Scouts that are all 6 years old going, I love
Right.
it. Every dog's not going to enjoy that. And we
Right.
don't want, we don't want to torture a dog. We want them to enjoy it.
Right.
I made my one of our old office managers cry one time because she wanted her dogs to be therapy dogs. And I was like, they just don't have the temperament for it. And she was like, what do you mean?
Right.
They're so sweet. And I was like, well, they need to be able to do this and
It has
this.
to be more than just sweet.
And she was crushed. I was like, your dog he's way too hyperactive. One of them was like super hyper, and the other one was, like you said, fearful of new things and fast moving children. And,
She did take them through a lot of classes though, and they did become much better dogs.
but still.
Yeah. And she had walked in, and this is one of the things I want to talk with you about too, is she had walked in as a new employee with 2 dogs on prong collars, and we had to help her understand that not only was that not allowed at Dog Boys, but here's the reason that we should, maybe take a turn and do something different. And that was the first time anybody had ever told her that a prong collar wasn't a good idea, and that it was probably making her problems worse. And she was just like, well, I didn't know any better, and now I know better, so I'm never going to do that again. But I didn't know, so many people just don't know.
Right.
So what got you into making sure that the training was positive and,
Yeah. How did you get into dog training? Like, how did you?
she has a master's in accounting.
That's
How'd
why.
you go from accounting?
Yeah, that's why I
to
was
what
like,
you're doing now?
I know you had like some moment in your life where you're like, I want to do
I'm
that.
going to do this instead.
Yeah, I guess it's an odd journey. Probably came to, so my kids, when they were little, I had some pretty hyper kids. And so I got a dog, and the dog, I guess, was my therapy, right? When I asked it to do something, it did it better than my kids when they were little.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was a great social facilitator, right? I would go places with my kids, and I'm kind of actually innately shy, like, meeting new people. But with the dog, everyone's your best friend.
Right. What kind of dog was it?
A golden retriever.
Oh, you're cheating. That's
They're so
That's
great.
the thing. Yeah. So she really started me on the path of, wow, this is pretty amazing. And then we moved to Texas from Illinois, and I wanted to foster dogs, something to do, and the golden retriever group wouldn't have me. And so I was like, okay, well, I'll do my own. So that kind of started us off with rescue. And then the reading dog program, the start of the therapy program, was I had this golden retriever, and I tested and got her to pass. At the time, it was Pet Partners was the big therapy dog organization. and went to the first school and wanted to bring in the dog. I'm like, really, this will work. Like when my kids are here and they read to the dog, it helps them read longer. It's a really good thing. And it took us like 3-4 months to convince a teacher that let us in. So the first dog goes in and we start the reading dog program. It only took a few weeks, and she started talking to all her friends in the industry or, in different schools, and the phone started ringing.
Oh,
Yay.
wow.
Yay. So that was kind of the beginning. And then I realized, I'm like, okay, I'm really good at organizing. So if I created an organization where we could train the dogs and I could coordinate it, I could get dogs all over the place in all the schools. And so that was kind of the start of the Dog Alliances.
Yeah, that's
Wow.
your accounting and numbers training, like systems and order and
Yes, and organizing and product.
yeah, no,
management.
that's awesome. That's really, really cool.
Yeah. And then the positive training, tell me more about kind of why that was the most important to you.
I couldn't hear you. Could say it again.
Oh, just the positive training aspect of it.
Why positive?
Yeah, why positive?
When I very first started, I had German Shepherds, and I worked with a Schützen trainer who was not positive. And I had a dog that, not positive training will work okay with some German Shepherds, right? Like It wasn't glaring that it was a problem until I got this one dog where, trying that, and it ruined my relationship with the dog, right?
Yeah.
Like I just could not progress with her. And I started thinking, like, why am I hurting this animal, right? Like at some point, something went off in my head that, like, this is wrong. This isn't the way to do it. And, never have advocated any type of aversive since then. And really what we see is that bond you have with the dog and that trust and that dog knowing you're not going to hurt them and that they don't need to be fearful when you're there.
Right.
That makes all the difference, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Totally
so true.
could not agree more. And I'm still amazed at people. Like, we wrote an article about choke chains and pinch collars like 4 years ago.
Yeah, it was a blog post a long time ago.
A long time ago, and people still randomly
They comment on it.
They want to challenge us and say, well, you don't know how to use the collars, and you can be a treat tossing weenie if you want, but some dogs it didn't work on. And
yeah, they get really angry.
They get
and I think
angry
it's
and
because
defensive.
they either feel guilty or they don't
Or
like the
threaten.
fact that we're telling them that it's not right.
Or threaten.
Yeah,
maybe?
threaten maybe.
I don't know.
But I'm always like, thanks for your comment. Bye.
Did you see that? I don't know if I can say their name. A major pet store.
Yeah, we can say it because it's good news.
Not PetSmart.
Petco.
Petco pulled choke chains out of.
They pulled shock collars out of their
shock
store.
collars.
Mhm.
Sorry.
Out of all their stores. No more shock collars.
Yay.
Woohoo! Yeah, that's great. That's
It's
great.
hard to believe, like, I was doing that 20 years ago, right? It's hard to believe all the science behind positive training, that there's still people that even consider hurting their dog as a method of training, right? Like, you wouldn't hurt a person to teach them something.
There's a company here who I don't know if they're a national chain, but they basically teach dominance theory and like you get your certification to be a dog trainer or an owner of their business.
It's a local dog training school
for, I don't know, a couple $1,000s, and here's how to use a shock collar and here's how to use a prong collar, and go out there.
Every time they come here looking for work, I just have to say, I'm so sorry.
No, that's not who I'm talking about.
Oh, a different one?
Yeah.
Oh,
I think this one's a franchise.
You're talking about a franchise dog training company.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
And
they have their own shock collar, so they promote that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I've been doing this for, when did I start?
95, 92 probably is when you started training.
And I sort of had the same thing. The lady the place I was working at, she was a Schützen trainer, and she used to put dogs like Maltese on a prong collar, wet the sidewalk, and then just drag the dog. And she was like, oh no, it doesn't hurt her. And she'll eventually start walking because she's tired of being drugged on the wet concrete. And then I reward her.
That is so bad.
But she had me like alpha roll my girl, and it broke my heart. Like there was like, as I was doing it, and the lady was like frothing at the mouth, saying, you control that bitch or whatever said. She was like, basically my dog was freaking out. She's like, well, what are you doing? And struggling. And the lady was like, basically she was saying, you have to dominate that dog. And it broke my heart. And like that day I was like, done. Like I'm never doing that to my dog. And so
that's why I like asking our guests why they're into positive training, because everybody has a story like you that's changed their mind. They changed their mind because something happened that they didn't like and they don't want to do it anymore.
It didn't feel right.
Yeah.
I feel like it gives people permission to hurt their dog. They'll sell it to them in the guise of, dog training. The problem is most people aren't good trainers. They don't have timing and they don't understand reinforcement schedules or whatever. And if, they know a choke or a hit of the shock is what they were told to do. If they're not getting the behaviors they want, they start getting frustrated, and then they start getting angry. And then, so I'm not telling you anything new, am I?
No, but I actually have a story to tell, and I don't want to keep talking, us be the talkers, but I was getting my infusion yesterday, and someone came in who we know who has a bed and breakfast in the Fredericksburg area.
Oh, cool.
And we stayed at his place, and he's a very nice man. And he was getting an infusion at the same place. He's like, hey, how you doing? I was like, great. And he came over and showed me a picture of his new dog. He was all excited to show me this picture. And the dog had a shock collar on. Oh. And I said, what kind of collar is that? And he's like, oh, it's a shock collar. And I go, what? Why? No, why? I said, oh, ouch. Why? And he said, oh, well, we've got chickens, and, there's a lot of land. So I need to be able to get him to come back to me and leave the chickens alone. And he goes, well, first it beeps, and then it vibrates, and then it shocks. And he goes, and most of the time he comes after the vibration. I only have to shock him every once in a while. And I'm just like, I just want to like jump out of my skin and like shake this man. But I just said, that's great. He knew how I felt, but it was so surprising to me that it didn't even occur to him that I wouldn't want to see that picture.
Yeah.
It was like, no, it's a shock collar. Like what's wrong with that? So anyway, we're going to get off our soapbox.
Yeah.
And I want to ask you some more detail about the types of programs that you have, because you help family dogs, you help therapy dogs, like you have camps for kids, a grooming academy. Like, tell me a little bit about all the different types of training that you guys do.
So for the families, we have puppy manners, puppy kindergarten, we have puppy agility. So ways to bond with that young dog, where we're very safe. They're not jumping. We're not hurting their bones or their growth plates.
What are they doing in puppy agility?
They do the tunnel probably.
Some wobble boards and some low planks, and just kind of trying to learn that they have 4 feet. They got to be aware where all of them are.
Okay.
Self-awareness.
Oh, that's great.
Building confidence, right? Being around other dogs and still listening to their person.
Yeah, that's so cool.
I love it.
Yeah. Sometimes when people have really young dogs, they don't really know how to play with them, right? How to do productive interaction. So part of puppy kindergarten and puppy agility is to teach them, how do you play with such a little dog in a productive manner?
Right.
Oh, that's smart.
Well, and people are all different. There's the quiet, shy people. Like I'm generally pretty quiet and shy. Unless I really know you, then I'm very goofy. And then there's some people that are super loud. And like we had a guy that we were like, reward your dog. And he was just like, good dog.
Good dog.
Right.
Good boy.
Good boy.
Good boy. So yeah, you have to teach people.
Who's your buddy? I'm just kidding.
You get all different types of people. But that's the fun of it, is to figure out how do you read. It's not just the dog, it's the person, right?
Yeah.
You really have to understand how to work with different people.
Yeah, it's about the relationship.
Yeah, and I didn't realize that you did training for just general family pet dogs as well. It's not just for therapy.
Right. Well, therapy dogs are puppies,
Mm-hmm.
right? So we have to
Right.
grow them up into therapy dogs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's so
Do you
great.
feel like you have a better chance of a dog becoming a therapy dog if you do start them working on therapy skills as early as like 7 weeks? I think
Oh,
your
yeah.
program said.
Yeah. I tell people when they call, like the most important class we have is puppy kindergarten, which is for 8 to 16-week-old dogs, right?
Mhm.
Like if you can teach your dog correctly in those first 8 weeks,
Yeah,
the rest of their life, you're setting them up for success. So that
Yes.
is the most important one.
That's so true.
how many of those people are like, isn't that too young for shots? And
Yeah, we still get actually a surprising number of people that are afraid to bring their puppy that young. But
Yeah.
if you look at like all the veterinary sites and all the white
Yeah.
papers that all the associations of veterinarians come out with, they all say the risk of not doing training at that early
Right.
stage is way worse than the risk that you're going to get parvo or something.
right, because
Mhm.
that's my experience has been like most of the dogs in shelters are dogs that weren't socialized or weren't taught bite inhibition,
Mhm.
Right.
or didn't learn it.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I totally agree. I think the American Veterinary Society, or I forgot what their letters are, but
AVMA, yeah.
one of the big ones was like that. It said exactly what you said. Like it's a bigger risk to not do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I
we
can
get-
put a link to their white paper, like their position statement on
Yeah.
my website on the puppy page so that people can.
That's-
Oh, good. That's good.
That's smart. I'm going to steal that,
We
just so
get-
you know.
We get a lot of clients
Yeah,
that call
I know.
us and their dogs are like 3 and 4 years old and they're like, I just want to socialize him. He's never socialized. And I'm like,
Yeah.
honey, where
Yeah.
do I start? Like we got to go back, way back.
Yeah.
It's hard once the dog's already that age to, I mean,
And,
Ian Dunbar said, I think it stops at 12 to 16 weeks. That's when socialization is like whatever you've done in that time.
Yeah.
That's it.
They've got
you
a
know,
couple of windows, and it's the really early ones.
that
It's
are the
usually
most
too late.
important.
Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
So we do the pet dog classes, and then hopefully the puppies we get, grow up to be therapy dogs or service dogs, if that's what the family wants. If they just want a dog that's really nice in their house, they've got that as well. And then we do summer camps for kids. So pre-COVID, we would have about 150 different children come with their dogs in the summer.
Wow.
All day we'd have dogs and kids there. It was really fun. And-
Wow.
Yeah, it's
Love it.
cool. Like on the last day of camp each week, like the kids cry because they don't.
Aww.
They want
They
to
don't
stay.
leave their
Did-
dog.
do the kids, like I went to camp and you had camp friends. Are there people that like have camp friends and camp dog friends?
Oh yeah, I mean, think about if you're a shy kid, right? And you have
Yeah.
a dog, and all of a sudden you don't have to be so shy. You could talk about the dog, right? Or
Yeah.
you can say, "Oh, look, my dog wants to meet your dog," right? And all of a
Mhm.
sudden you got these shy children interacting.
Yeah.
Right.
I love it.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. It really
It is.
Do they
what-
bring their own dogs or
Yeah.
do you provide a dog?
No, she said their own.
Okay, it's their own dogs.
So they bring their own dog, but some kids don't have a dog, right? Or their family's thinking about a dog, or right, or someone has allergies, but the one of the kids in the family really likes it. So then we loan them a therapy dog.
Yeah, that's so cool.
We provide the dog for them.
That's so cool.
I love it.
And even like a child that has ADD or autism or something where maybe they'd struggle if they had their own untrained family pet, and we
Mhm.
give them a therapy dog that's already really well trained. So then
Yeah.
that's a great self-esteem boost because you have this child that your dog can do it perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, it's a nice gift to be able to give a child.
Yeah.
What kind of dog was that?
So that is Marley, who remember I said my time constraint might be Marley needs to pee.
Yeah.
Give me 1 second.
Okay.
Oh,
Is my puppy that when COVID happened, it wasn't like you had a whole lot of time to prepare.
Right.
We had just adopted her as a baby end of January, and so I ended up with a puppy.
oh,
I'm
Kind of
raising
dog?
Marley. Me and Marley have hung out for the last 7 months.
What's Marley? What kind of dog?
She's a yellow lab.
Oh, so she still sounds really small.
She is?
She's about 9 months.
Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
She's
Still an adolescent.
Like full size, but still young at heart.
You also do like dog sports, is that right? Like you have a sport class or introduction to sport?
we have agility class and we have tricks class. Sometimes we'll do rally classes.
Cool.
Rally.
Yeah.
I want to hear a little bit about the work that you do with veterans.
So that's a huge part of what we do is working with veterans. We have about 30 veterans that have service dogs already. And right now we have 7 or 8 veterans that are training their own service dog. And so they will come in and meet with us once or twice every single week with their dog, practicing skills for the dog to be a service dog.
Wow.
What kind of skills are they learning?
So public access is the big one, right? To, that dog needs to be unobtrusive in public. Like if someone has a service dog with them, you should not know they're there, right? They should be right next to you. They shouldn't be going to greet people. If someone drops food, they shouldn't be picking it up. We don't want the dog to be scared. If the dog is approached by strangers, we don't want any sort of growling, barking, shyness, right? So all that takes a lot of practice. And then the dog, to be a service dog, needs to do tasks that mitigate the disability. So we, learn what is the person's struggle, what is their disability, and then we come up with tasks the dogs will do to help with that.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Aren't dogs just amazing?
Yes.
I tell people that all the time. I'm like, you don't know how cool dogs are. They're like,
Yeah.
Especially when you take them through some deep training like they teach at the Dog Alliance. I mean, it's one thing to take a basics class with your dog, but when you deep dive into training with your dog, that's when you really fall in love.
Right.
Yeah.
And we're going on outings every week. So we're doing a basic class and we're learning skills, but then we're also going to HEB and the airport and all sorts of different places with the dogs and the veterans. And so, for us, we have to be adept at the dog, but also working with an individual that has a mental or a physical disability, right? And so sometimes we're making sure our human is calm too, and it's not just the dog. So for us, it's both pieces. They really need to come together when we're working with them.
Make a team.
Do you get any veterans that come that don't have a service dog and need a service dog? Like, I was curious if you do any kind of collaboration with like Service Dogs Inc. Here in town, or do you ever have people that come to you looking for a service dog but they don't have one?
Yes, all day, every day.
That's what she said. She was getting 10
calls
calls a day.
10 calls a day. Okay, that's right.
Yeah, the problem is, so for us, so if we start with a puppy, they're not really ready to test and deal with their veteran until they're 18 to 22 months old.
Yeah.
Right? So we're putting in 2 years of training, caring for the dog, feeding the dog, all the vaccinations, all of that before we can match them up. And so it's a lot of money, a lot of investment. And that's why there's just not nearly enough service dogs out there for people to adopt. Right?
Yeah, our son just got diagnosed epileptic not too long ago, and he doesn't have seizures very often, but I just always wondered, like, what would a service dog look like for him? Like, because he can't ever predict that they're going to happen. But again, there's not like a place where you can go and just pick up a service dog for epilepsy.
Right. Yeah. So I always refer people to Assistance Dogs International website. They have, they're very, very strict, their standards. And so if you find an organization there that can help you, you're fairly assured that they're going to be high quality and reliable.
No, that's great.
Super important.
Yeah, very. That's wonderful. Well, and do you still have the grooming academy going on, or was that just pre-COVID?
No. So if all goes well, she's going to start a couple weeks from now, October 19th.
What is it?
It's a full like grooming academy for people that want to become groomers.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
As somebody that they employ. Well, you can tell us about her.
Yeah, I was going to start out grilling you.
I just know what I've read online.
Yeah. So her name is Anessa, and she came to me. She's a wonderful, wonderful, warm, gentle, very conscientious woman. And she was saying, I have this dream. I think that grooming academies should be done different. I think that you should teach people to groom and be kind to the dog. There's no reason why someone should be yanking or hurting a dog. A dog should
Right.
want to go to the groomers, not be.
Right.
I was like, "Ooh, I like you."
Yeah. Wow.
Right?
That's crazy. That's a crazy idea. It'll never work.
Yeah, I was like, that fits well. And I'm lucky to be, I've been doing this now for 15 years. I'm at a more, well, before COVID, fairly stable place. And it's like, I'll give you a chance. You can do it at my place. I have the insurance. We do schooling. We've done job skills through Texas Workforce Commission. So I already had all the paperwork set up. So I said, go for it. Show me your curriculum. Give me your business plan. I'll help you do it. So
She created like a curriculum and like.
Yeah. And we had 3 students the last round and all 3 got jobs. So
Yeah.
Wow.
it's
That's
pretty
wonderful.
Cool. We're going to infest that industry next, where we're like,
She's building more pet people
Yeah.
for our industry. Just what we need.
well, just like kind-hearted, like, I just don't understand. Like you don't even really think about that. I guess at some of the big box stores, they have those glass windows. And so, they can't really be manhandling the dogs. I mean, I would think it would keep them a little more honest, but
Mhm.
I'm
but
sure
you hear
there's,
horror stories all the time, right? Of
Yeah.
dogs. People pick them up and the dog's eyes are all bloodshot and
Oh,
right. Things you're
Yeah.
like, okay, something pretty did not
Yeah.
happen, really.
That's
Something pretty good.
right.
So
Yeah.
yeah, this woman's pretty darn wonderful. And
Well-
I've watched her classes and I've talked to her students and they're always, so happy and grateful. So it's a
That's
good
right.
program.
yeah.
I think people come in and out of your life, like on a plan, a bigger
Mhm.
plan.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So that's cool.
You have, now you guys are a nonprofit, yes?
correct.
And so you must have to do annual things besides teaching classes. Are there other ways that you have fundraisers to bring in some money for those things?
Yes, so we do, your typical 5Ks and things like that, frequently.
Mhm.
Grant writing all the time. Individual donations, honestly, is a huge part of our revenue source. People believing in what we're doing and helping us.
If you guys ever need gift cards or gift baskets or like
Anything for an event, yeah, let us know. We'd be happy to
Anything.
donate.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, sure. I mean, you have a Halloween event coming up, don't you?
A very simple one. So,
Yeah.
all the seniors are stuck in their homes or in the homes, right? Like we used to have a whole bunch of our therapy dogs and handlers that went and visited nursing home residents, and then nothing. We can't get in. Heck, family members can't even get in, right?
Mhm.
So I've had a couple of nursing homes call up and say, "Can we just drive by and look at the dogs?" I'm like, "Oh, you're breaking my heart." So we came up with for Halloween, we're going to have our therapy team handlers dress up with their dogs, and then we're going to have nursing homes come in their buses. They'll stay in their buses, and we'll do like a parade around the bus. We can give them treats and wave at them, show them the tricks our dogs can do, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's funny.
I think my heart just grew 2 sizes.
Are you saying you're the Grinch?
That is so sweet.
Maybe-
No, I'm usually not the Grinch.
I
but-
wonder if they could toss treats out the window to the dogs.
Maybe. I'm sure we'll get creative, but
Treats welcome.
it's
You can
it's
just,
the
like,
best we
hand
can
one
come
little-
up with to try to do our little part to make it to choose.
Oh, you're making the world a brighter place, Debbie.
That's
I
so
love
cool.
that.
We're trying.
So sweet. Anything else we can do to anything else you want to talk about while we're here, just to make sure that we get out anything we're forgetting?
If anyone's interested in our program and they don't live close to Cedar Park, we do have an online option now. So that's part of COVID. It's
that's
doing pretty
great.
well. And for some people, actually an online option is a good place to start. Right? It's a lot
Yeah.
less stressful than
Yes, it is.
a class setting. And if you have
Mhm.
kind of a naughty dog or, whatever, it's a good place to start. So if they don't live near us, they can still work with us. They just do it online.
That's such a great thing. We're doing that here too with Zoom classes. And I think the nice thing that people don't really realize the benefit of until they're in the middle of it is that they don't have to worry about their dog lunging at other dogs, or,
Right.
they don't have to get dressed up and,
Yeah.
be focused on what their other people in the class are doing. They're just focusing on their own dog in their own living room and having a lot of success that way. So I think that's a great idea.
Their own front door. So we forgot to tell you this at the beginning, but we have a mini speed round at the very end of this.
Okay.
It's where I ask you three questions.
They're easy, don't
They're
worry.
really easy questions. So the first question, if you're ready.
I'm ready to go.
Drum roll. What is your first memory of a dog? Like having fun with a dog, or like your first time?
Yeah, first dog that you've came in contact with.
When I was about 4th grade, my family tried to adopt a dog, but we got a Dalmatian, which for a family that knows nothing about dogs at all, it was not a good choice.
Yeah.
So I love that dog, but my mom didn't last long.
Oh.
So
Aww.
that was kind of my first, I think it put in my mind the knowledge that you have to educate people, right?
Yeah.
As cute as the dog is, you can't just drop it and say,
Go.
go, it's all going to be great. I mean, if
Yeah,
you
good
don't
luck.
know what you're doing, it's hard. So, maybe that
But
first memory
I'm
helps.
sure 9-year-old you was super excited though. Like you're like a dog.
Yes, I really enjoy him.
Okay. My second question is, how many dogs have you had lifetime? Like, actually, you're going to get 4 questions. How many dogs have you fostered?
Oh,
Okay, so the fostering one actually probably an easier number. Over 1,000.
Oh
Wow.
wow. That's
Wow.
crazy. That's wow.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting 1,000.
Yeah, well, so in the early days of Dog Alliance, if you remember back, where there was a lot of dogs put to sleep every day,
Right?
yes.
that's when I started. And so we were pulling and placing about 350 dogs a year.
Wow.
We did that for several years. And then eventually, APA and all of those made it so that we were a no-kill city.
Right.
Mhm.
So that's when we shifted to saying, we don't need to do this anymore, but we're really good trainers. And we shifted to doing the service dog work.
Oh, that's great. I love
So,
that.
so how many dogs would you call that were your own over after the Dalmatian didn't work out, and then
How many did you own in your family and on your own?
I don't know, 10 or 12 maybe.
that's
That's a lot.
that's a lot. Well,
So
thanks for
cute.
talking to us today.
Yeah, thank you so much. We really enjoyed having you on the podcast. And for anyone who's listening out there or watching the podcast, you can reach the Dog Alliance by going to thedogalliance.org.
Yep.
All right.
Thanks.
Well, thank you, Debbie.
Thanks so much. Have a wonderful
You
day.
too.
Thanks.